Dangers of the New Economic Era. The world of retirement has been turned upside down in this new economic era, and governments and private businesses' poor management of pension funds are more pervasive today than ever before. The middle class is under siege, and the ruling elites are taking all that they can get away with pension withdrawals. Higher contributions by employees and reduced returns in best-case scenarios mean they will never receive the benefits they were promised upon retirement. Millennials aren't sure they will ever be able to retire. They're afraid of that day when they can no longer perform in the workplace and are left to fend for themselves. To make matters worse, the majority of pension promises made to today's workers are underfunded. Hi, and welcome back to another video of Finance Sense, where we cover all the latest trends in the financial markets and the economy. In this video, we will go into what precisely the dangers are as we enter the new economic era. And we will also provide you with a glance into how politics is really making the situation worse than it has ever been. But before we begin, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click on the notification bell to stay updated with our videos. Now, let's head on to the video. There are millions of employees and retirees all over the world who rely on pension plans that were established by corporations and governments for their financial security in retirement. These individuals have the belief that benefits that have been promised to them will be fulfilled. Unfortunately, a large number of pensions are woefully underfunded, which means that insufficient funds have been set aside to deliver the benefits that were promised. In addition to this, the money that is included in these pensions is regularly and severely mismanaged, also known as gross malpractice that is routinely performed. When discussing pensions, the phrase severe misconduct is almost often used interchangeably with the phrase prevailing practice. This situation is made worse by the fact that there are several actuarial and benefit consulting companies operating all over the world that earn handsome livings by advising pension plan sponsors on how to legally increase their profit lines by reducing or completely eliminating their pension obligations, or how to breach the pension promises they have set. Pensioners cannot rely on their plans to keep their benefit promises because plan sponsors are only concerned with their own bottom lines. This means plan sponsors will go to great lengths to mislead employees about the retirement benefits they were promised when they were employed. In the book Who Stole My Pension? How Can You Stop the Looting by Edward Seidel, pensions across the world are at risk. According to some analysts, the UK saw the near collapse of over 90% of its pensions, holding £1.5 trillion in assets this previous week. What actually occurred was that a government program known as liability-driven investing, or LDI, caused a pension crisis in the United Kingdom. LDI is a mechanism that aids in balancing the assets and liabilities of company pensions. The administration of newly elected Prime Minister Liz Truss revealed a plan to cut taxes that is funded by an increase in government debt of £72 billion, which came as inflation was increasing and the country's bond market was approaching a crisis. Significant increases in UK government bond yields led to margin calls, which many investors attempted to meet by selling further bonds, setting off a domino effect. In order to prevent the bond market from collapsing, the Bank of England immediately launched an emergency intervention, a £65 billion bond buying program that was distributed in daily doses of £5 billion until October 14. Additionally, the UK pension regulator urged defined benefit scheme trustees and their advisors to evaluate the resilience and liquidity of their assets, risk management, and financing arrangements and prepare appropriately. The Bank of England stated that funds were under tremendous strain and that many businesses were in danger of going out of business. In other words, this pension issue was brought on by the government. This is akin to the U.S. government cutting taxes at a time when the Federal Reserve is tightening regulation. It's unlikely that the exact same situation will arise again in the U.S. Hopefully, what occurs in the U.K. remains in the U.K. However, the UK's almost collapse may be a warning sign for pensioners throughout the world. James McIntosh, a columnist for the Wall Street Journal, recently commented on the UK situation and said that it has shocked world markets. Through a toxic combination of politics, inflation, and increased interest rates, it is giving a message to governments everywhere of the risks of the new economic era we are approaching. But before we move on to the next segment of this video, I just wanted to ask all of you guys what your opinions are concerning the looming financial disaster that is related to the new economic age. Are you positive that your pension plan will enable you to live the life you've always envisioned for yourself after you retire? Or are you considering a number of different retirement options at the moment? If the answer is yes, then do let us know in the comment area below so that we can continue the discussion. And with that, let's proceed to watch the video. But to be clear, private and public pensions in America are currently in grave jeopardy due to massive underfunding. There are several warning signs. Despite being distinct from the UK, America has its own toxic mix that has an influence on pensions. The PBGC, a federal government body that protects the pension benefits of around 40 million Americans who have private sector pension plans, is first and foremost insolvent. State public record laws have been severely undermined by the nation's state and local government pensions, which now embrace secrecy more than ever. Almost all pension investment information is now kept secret from the public, especially information about high-risk private equity and other so-called alternative investments. Surprisingly, despite advancements in technology for information distribution, public pensions are less open now than they were 20 years ago, thanks to Wall Street. American pension funds are gambling more than ever, investing 30% or more of their assets in risky, expensive alternatives that have historically underperformed. These investments' performance has been overstated and the poor actual outcomes have been kept from the public's view. The exact percentages of assets at risk are also exaggerated, as are investing fees and costs. Leverage or borrowing is higher than ever for U.S. pensions, but it is not adequately disclosed to the public. Most pensioners aren't even aware of the level of leverage in their portfolios. They don't keep track of how much they are borrowing. That's irresponsible rather than just imprudent. Politicians with no investment background, like Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, are urging state and local government pensions around the nation to completely embrace their political objectives and forego reasonable investing standards. This is what we refer to when we say politicalizing the investment decision-making process. When political considerations are included in the selection process for investments, the returns on such investments will eventually suffer. The forensic investigations that Edward Seidel has conducted over the past 4 decades on retirement plans, totaling more than $1 trillion, have revealed this. Numerous company pension plans in America have previously collapsed and had been taken over by the PBGC. However, the most senior PBGC officials have never shown any interest in looking into the reasons behind the failures or really holding those parties accountable for the collapse of pensions throughout Seidel's conversations with them over the previous 20 years. Investigating the reasons why pensions fail and bringing those responsible to justice is necessary in order to prevent the collapse of such business pension plans in the future. In a manner comparable to that of public pensions, local politicians are so intertwined with them that neither state attorney generals, nor law enforcement, nor federal nor state regulators dare investigate any potential wrongdoing. Expect our country's pension crisis to worsen in the coming months and years, given the lack of public access to information that would reveal the egregious misconduct frequently practiced at our pensions. The limited ability of pensioners to confront such wrongdoing under current law, the lack of effective regulations, and the ability of our government politicians on both sides of the aisle to do Wall Street's bidding. I'm afraid we have reached the end of the video for today. Thank you for watching thus far. Please subscribe and give a like if you enjoyed it, and comment your thoughts below. This is Finance Sense, helping you keep up with all the latest trends in the financial markets and the economy. See you in the next video.